Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Tea. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for showing up for yourself, because making the decision and taking those steps to open yourself up and look at yourself and your life and the changes that you wish to make. That's not an easy thing to do. And I want you to really just appreciate the strength and the effort that it takes to do that. And just knowing that every little step you take and every little change that you choose to make is truly taking you a step further along your journey, and it's helping you to reach your highest purpose. And this is a journey that isn't easy. It's a journey that is very lonely. And it's a journey that takes work. And I want you to understand the importance of protecting your peace along your journey. Understanding that your peace is priceless. Understanding that your peace is your currency when you make that decision to heal yourself from past trauma, and when you make that decision to make changes in your life because you don't want to suffer anymore. And I'm fully aware that we are living in a world where protecting our peace is very challenging. And we live amongst people who can make the peace that we experience in our lives very, very difficult. But I just want to take this moment to highlight the importance of the choices that we make once we become aware, once we become self-aware, once we are able to gain more of a holistic view of our lives and what we are doing to disrupt the peace within our lives. Because a huge part of this journey is accountability, and taking accountability for the choices that we choose to make, for the decisions that we choose to make, for the people that we allow into our lives. It's all too easy to blame other people. It's all too easy to blame someone else for the impact, the negative impact that they may have in our lives. And whilst we cannot control what other people do to us, we can control whether or not to allow them in our lives. We can control how much access they get to us. We can control how much of ourselves we are choosing to pour into relationships and situations that do not serve us. And I've come to realize in my life that the love we have for somebody is not a good enough excuse. How much you love somebody, or how much you're craving for them, or how much you care for them isn't a good enough excuse to keep allowing these people into our lives to disrupt our peace. Learning to set boundaries and learning to set boundaries with the people in your life is going to help you bring peace into your life. There was a time in my life when I spent years praying for peace. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed to have peace in my life. And now that I have peace in my life, I truly understand the value of protecting that peace. And there are times in life when things happen, situations occur. We find ourselves in circumstances that we didn't ask for. And in those moments, it's not about how much we can control that situation, how much we can control the people who are trying to disrupt the peace in our life. In those moments, it's about us and what we are doing to maintain as much balance and peace within ourselves. And that's not easy. And it will depend how far along your journey you are, whether how challenging you might find that. The further you are along your healing journey, the more you'll be able to adapt to finding that peace within yourself. But I just want to point out how crucial it is before you even reach a certain point of your healing journey. Even if you're not on your journey, the peace that you cultivate in your life can have an impact in so many different areas. Because if you get yourself into a situation where you're inviting the wrong people into your life, it can ultimately cause you so much distress and disruption. It can remove you from your path. It can take away your direction. It can destroy you in so many ways that trying to find peace becomes very, very challenging. And it will feel like a constant fight every single day, having to remove those things in your life that are causing you distress. And when you've worked to find a place of balance in your life and you have peace, you will become very, very sensitive to any body or any environment that doesn't support that peace. And it won't be possible for you to remain in those places. It won't be possible for you to stay in spaces that do not bring you peace. You really have to be careful. If you're a person, you've got a good heart, you give to people without expecting anything in return, you take people for face value, you might even be a bit naive in terms of people's intentions towards you. You have to be really careful who you open yourself up to, because there are people who will take advantage of the fact that you are a good person. There are people out here who do not have good intentions. They may look as though they have good intentions, but in here, they do not have good intentions. And some people are very, very cunning, very good at deception. And if you're not a person who operates in that way, it will be very, very difficult for you to pick up on that other person's ill intentions. And you might even suspect something. You might even have real strong suspicions that something isn't right, but you become easy to gaslight and manipulate. And this is how people manage to break you down and weaken you and start making you question yourself to the point where you don't even trust your own perception or your own views or thoughts anymore. I just know myself from being in many situations that haven't served me well. That making choices that you may or may not know are for your highest good will essentially cost you in some way. There will be a price to pay for making bad choices. And you yourself might not be a bad person, but you're inviting energies into your life that can become very difficult to clear out. And having been through many situations in my life where I have invited the wrong people in, I have attracted the wrong people like moths to a flame. And ended up in some real troubling situations. And not really taking the lessons that needed to be learnt and then repeating those same mistakes. Once you find your way out of those types of situations, I'm not saying you won't meet people with ill intentions ever again in your life, because you will. But if you're not taking the lessons from those situations, the lessons that I feel we enter situations in our lives to learn lessons, whether they be good or bad. Every situation in our life, there is a lesson. There is a lesson or lessons to be learned. And if you do not learn those lessons, you're going to keep repeating that cycle until you learn the lesson that needs to be learned. And when you're operating from a lower vibration, I myself have spent many years operating from a lower vibration. You are naturally going to attract people who also operate from a low vibration. And unless you can see the patterns that you are repeating, unless you are able to look at your life and see the damage that you are essentially doing to yourself, you're just going to be stuck in a cycle of negativity. And there comes a point in life where there's only so much you can take. There's only so much you can take before you realize that things need to change. And sometimes things happen in our lives to create that change. As hard or hurtful as those things may be, they are ultimately there to push us into change. And the more you take those lessons and the more you learn from them, the more you're going to expand and the more you're going to grow. And it's not saying that other people won't come along to teach you more lessons and other situations won't occur. But as you go along your journey and you grow, those new lessons and those new experiences and those new people who might not have your best interests at heart are kind of going to test the work that you have been doing. They're going to test whether or not you have learned your lessons from the past. And when you're able to compare your growth in those situations and you have reached a point where you have built more of a solid foundation for yourself, more of a solid structure, you have set boundaries, you know what your values are, your morals, you know what you will and will not tolerate, you know what you want in your life and you know what you don't want in your life. You have worked to create peace within your life. You don't want anyone coming into your space to disrupt you and the work and progress that you have made. You will become very discerning with whom you allow into your life. You will become very discerning with whom you choose to associate with, who you share your energy with. People do not have the right to access you. You get to choose who can access you and your space and experience your energy. You aren't only when you interact with certain people, whether that's physically, sexually, any way you're interacting with other people, you're not only inviting that person into your life and into your energetic field, you're also inviting all of the other energies that those people are dealing with. You don't know who those people are dealing with, and you don't know who those people that person is dealing with, you don't even know who they're dealing with. If you're serious about creating change in your life and you're serious about healing from your past and overcoming your trauma and getting to know yourself, learning to love yourself, you have to be really, really, really protective of yourself at all times. You have to get comfortable with saying no. You have to get comfortable with distancing yourself from people, places, environments that you know, that you love. Because love isn't enough. Love just isn't enough to allow other people into your space, to overstep your boundaries, to disrespect you, to devalue you, to take you for granted. To lie to you, to cheat on you, to backstab you, to talk behind your back. Love isn't enough to keep that in your life. Making the choice to change your life isn't an easy choice to make. Making the choice to trust in the divine and the universe and trust in the guidance that you are receiving to create a better life for yourself and leave behind everything and everyone that you've ever known, because you now have a new self-awareness. You are now operating at a different frequency that does not align with the life that you used to have. You can't have it both ways. You can't have one foot in and one foot out. You'll be slowing yourself down, you'll be holding yourself back, and you're just going to go round and around in a circle until you end up having to take the steps anyway. You'll get to a point in your life where you cannot take the suffering of your life anymore. And it's all about acceptance and accepting that life doesn't stand still. We love people. We lose people. People move on. People outgrow us. Nothing stays the same. Life is continually moving and we have to move with it. We just have to move with the flow of life. There's nothing you can do to stop that movement. And all you're doing is building resistance within yourself because you're holding on to something that doesn't exist anymore. It's a memory. That's all it is, a memory. So the more you accept the changes that need to occur in your life, and the more you are discerning about the people and the situations and environments that you allow into your life, that you expose yourself to, the more you trust yourself to listen to your inner guidance, your intuition, and put your faith in the divine and your spirit guides, the more you open yourself up to your journey, the more peaceful the more beautiful, the more joyful, the more opportunities you are going to allow into your life. When you let go, when you surrender, when you stop holding on to everything, you create freeness within yourself. You create inner peace. You gain a new perspective and outlook on your life and the world. And the work that you choose to do within yourself, the work that you choose to do to heal yourself, it's priceless. And once you put that work into yourself and you reintegrate with your true, authentic self, the possibilities that exist for you and your life become limitless. And it takes bravery and strength to do that inner work. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And if you're sick and tired of where your life is and you know you deserve more, you have the full power and the full control to make those changes at any point that you choose to. So, I say every week, I don't know who will resonate with that message. I'm learning to trust the downloads that I'm receiving and not question them. And I'm learning to remove any logic from the words that are coming out of my mouth, because I don't plan these episodes, and I'm trusting that the words that I'm speaking are truly helping you to heal. They're truly helping you to understand that you're not alone on this journey. I get it. I get it. I understand. There are people who I believe will resonate with this message, these messages, this channel of ours. And we have to believe and understand that we are not alone in this journey. And the more trust and faith that we put into this journey and into our growth, the more progress we're just going to keep making, the stronger we will become, and the higher we will keep elevating. And I'm grateful and so thankful that I have the opportunity to be able to sit here and share myself and be vulnerable. And to let you know that you're not alone. And I'm not alone. I'm a happy loner. And as much as I love to be alone, I fully acknowledge that this is a lonely journey. And I'll save the lonely talk for another episode. But I just want to thank you for being here. Keep going. Every day isn't an easy day. Life is full of challenges, but life can also be so full of blessings if we just take the time to recognize them and be thankful and grateful for every blessing that we have in our life. So take care, and I will see you again next Sunday. Bye.